So my name's Phu, and I work for Deliveroo. The rhyme is out there. um, Deliveroo is all about bringing food to people who want it. So really great food from really great restaurants and deliver it like magic. So it's actually slightly ironic that I have this slot just before lunchtime because I'm stopping you guys from actually getting to food. But we'll keep this hopefully quite short, and we'll keep some of the food pictures to a sort of minimum so that you don't lubricate your mouth too much. A little bit about Deliveroo. We're in 12 countries. We're in over 150 cities. And we're growing super, super fast, actually. So in 2016, we grew about 650%. And 2017, we're growing even bigger. Like it's, I think on the pamphlet, it says Journey with Unicorns. We're a unicorn startup in every sense of the word.
And we're very proud of that as well.
We're in a whole load of countries from all over Europe, all over UK and Ireland, and Asia, Australia, the Middle East. We're in a lot of places. And we're doing all of this to help bring great food to everyone around the world. So a little bit about where I sort of started. So when I joined in 2016, the design team was a lot smaller than we were then, and Deliveroo was not quite as big as it was here. And we really had two big focuses. We had a focus on helping customers find great food and everything to get that great food to the customer, everything from the restaurant side to the delivery side. And we kind of split our product teams broadly along those lines as well. So we had a consumer team with a whole series of products. So we have an Android app, an iOS app, and the desktop site. And then you had what we called the supply side of the business, which was the rider apps, Android and iOS, the restaurant tablet app, and a whole set of internal tools to make that go smoothly. The team was small, so the whole design team was about 5 people at that point, and my team was actually 2 people and responsible for quite a lot of stuff. But it's great, like small team, everyone works really, really well together. Communication's easy. We did design critiques, design reviews, all as a sort of team. We came together all as a sort of team. Communication worked perfectly. And we were tackling each product surface at a time, which is actually quite nice, a high degree of focus. But we grew, and it doesn't quite work when you're growing as a fast-paced startup. So we spent a lot of time thinking about where we wanted to be. And one of the main things is that though we set ourselves as like the customer side and everything to get food to the customer, that doesn't quite reflect like how we sort of think internally. We think about our sort of customers. We are all customers at Deliveroo. Like we eat a lot of food, a lot of food. But we care about our riders and operations. Like riders are the heart of our business, and our partners with these great, wonderful sort of restaurants were core to why we're here. So we wanted to sort of align ourselves to that ambition, to be the best restaurant sort of partner, to really put riders at the heart of our business, and still really help customers get the food that they want. So we split ourselves into those 3 groups. We set ourselves in those 3 groups, aligned to our 3 primary sort of users, and you have a really, really sort of clear mission at that point, which actually reflects what our users are trying to sort of do. And the nice thing about that is that it really allows you to sort of build up product teams to really have a clear set of goals and really, really empower themselves to sort of seek and achieve that mission. So it set ourselves up for being able to sort of scale to lots of product teams, because we are in 12 countries and we are in 150 cities, and we're working with some really, really big numbers. And we've got all these product teams that are working together to help shape change for a company that's moving really fast. And for each of these product teams, we work with a whole load of people. So design is a big part of that. We've got research, we've got data scientists, we've got engineering, we've got a whole lot of product people. Content is a big part of this sort of story. And the great thing about having all these disciplines is that you have a whole load of really, really strong expertise, people with superpowers who can really, really sort of take shape on, help these teams grow in the right way. But at the core of each of these teams, and these are product teams, you have a product manager, you have product designers, and you have product engineers. And they're real partners for each other. The team I kind of look over the most is the Deliveroo group, and that's the team in the middle. So we are responsible for the whole rider experience, and we're responsible for the whole internal sort of operation. So everything that makes Deliveroo work. We're responsible for the whole network, and we're responsible for all the automated systems, because you are sort of moving at pace across so many users and so many places that you need a lot of automation to make that work, which is why we work with data scientists, with engineers, with product people. The problem is that now you have a slightly different challenge. You've got lots of teams moving fast, and some of the things that you take for granted, such as communication, such as making sure that we're working in the same direction, such as having the deep conversations that you do about sort of design, those start coming right to the forefront. So you need to think about scaling. But scaling doesn't come for free, and scaling does have a big cost to it. And the key thing, I think, before we go into the rest of the presentation to take away is that you really don't want to scale until you need to. Premature scaling is a cost, and you need to think carefully about why you want to scale. With a few people working together, and you can move a lot faster, and you can actually take on some of the benefits of small teams. Getting things off the ground, you really want to sort of shoot that off on a rocket ship before you start working on making sure that you deal with scaling issues. But at some point, you find out that these things start slowing you down. And I think that's probably the main rule of thumb to sort of go by. You want to do things which help you move faster, whether you're a small company or a big company. So you kind of want to design to scale to your needs. Scale is about doing things faster, better, doing more. Scale is about being able to do things that you couldn't do before. Scale is about helping you continue to sort of make a difference and make a bigger impact through the economy of size and through all the tools that you have at your disposal. And if you think about some of the things that technology has helped us sort of scale with, you think about the megaphone, you can reach a lot more people. You think about phones, you can call a lot more people. And you think about sort of social media, you can have outreach for a lot more people. These are all things that magnify your efforts. And so the tools and processes and things that you put in place need to do the same. I have a very strong view about what design is, and my strong viewpoint about design is fundamentally about solving problems. There's a little bit of brackets that I do care about. It's about solving problems that matter. And when you're sort of growing your design team and growing actually your organization as well, you want to make sure that everything is aligned to sort of enable that to be the best that it can be. Solve more problems, solve them faster, and solve the bigger, high leverage problems that you need to sort of deal with. So there's two parts to this, and the whole point of this talk is to just briefly cover a little bit of the points, and then we hopefully have a lot of time for Q&A, and if we bleed into sort of lunch and stay for the after party, you're very welcome to sort of talk to me in a little bit more of the detail. The first part is making sure you understand the right problems. I mentioned before that we're in a whole number of countries. And one of the things to sort of think about at that point is that when you're sort of starting up, you know the problem space quite well, and you are really, really close to some of the pain points. And Dan sort of talks about you are not your user. And I've deliberately sort of chosen this headline because, and we'll touch on why sort of later, about not being so much being your user, but going out to empathize with your user. When you sort of start out with, you have a good sense of things, but your intuition sort of changes out of time. So it's really important that you spend a great deal of effort to keep on sort of learning. We do this a number of ways. We have user research, and user research both on a design research aspect, but also on a formative aspect. But we make sure that when we sort of consider being an international audience, that we go out and understand the sort of challenges of working with an international audience. So we spend quite a bit of time going to the places that are not home, from Paris to Amsterdam to Dubai to Manila to sort of Hong Kong, and also the less exotic places such as Leeds, where I grew up, and Manchester as well, and Edinburgh. Like, these are all important places as well. And there's a number of things that you learn in the process that there are commonalities around some of the problems that I've faced. The commonalities have differences which you need to consider, but there are commonalities. There's geography. There's verticality of buildings. Like in Hong Kong, you have stairs to go outside. In Dubai, you have 20-floor buildings which take you a lot of time to sort of go up. The road system is fun. You have a lot of one-way sort of paths. So, and you realize that these are things that you sort of need to consider. In Singapore or Hong Kong, typhoons and monsoon are a seasonal sort of affliction. And you can sort of tell when that happens, actually. We can sort of see on some of the metrics and dashboards that we have when a typhoon is happening, because like people stop ordering, which is kind of cool. But when you're out there, you kind of understand what you need to do and why the local operations team are doing the things that they're doing. And you find out that the expectations are just different. So people, culture, what they're used to, these are all things that come into play. So by doing so, you quickly get a sense of designing for the things that matter. And you start building much more of an intuition about how you want to approach things. And you start crystallizing these into things that you want to sort of take away as design problems. And you crystallize things into principles to guide your design. When we talk about users, we often forget about the users within our own organization. And that's a bit of a crying shame, because the customer service that we provide are ultimately provided by the people that work for your business. And if you don't really consider your internal user experience, then you find out that you're not equipping your friends, your colleagues, the people who work right on the front line to give the best experience that they can do. And if you're not using technology to sort of help them, then that's a bit of a shame as well, because technology is a great leveler and a great enabler. So some of the things that we do using a team of designers, engineers, data scientists is we can do things such as helping spotting things before it happens, guiding our support teams to resolve it, giving them the tools to actually resolve it in the right way, and giving them the information that they need. We need to sort of consider the things behind the scenes as well as the things in front of the people who pay for our service. And that's why we design together. We have a team because we have people who are masters of their domain. And we set out our teams to make sure that we let those superpowers sort of flourish. There's one final point about how we work at Deliveroo. So Design is at the heart of what we do, and we're a design-led company, and there's a responsibility that we need to sort of take on as leaders in that space. So we need to make sure that we're working on the sort of highest value pieces, the ones that have the biggest impact. And we also have a responsibility to make sure that that is subject to a high level of critique and understanding across the business. So we showcase our work in front of like the leadership team, in front of C-level sort of exec on a weekly basis. We design in the open, we share by default. We use a number of tools to do so, but in the same way that we have the community site for sort of Monzo, everything that we do, we sneak peek, we let people talk about our designs. We let people care about design across the company, and by people caring about design, the whole product and the whole experience we're crafting is much more stronger than our individual sort of efforts as a design team. As designers, we magnify the ability for good design to happen. So I'm going to talk a little bit about ensuring that as we sort of grow, that we keep the things that are true to sort of what we care about as well. So the more you grow as a sort of team, the more you have to be a lot more conscious of building the right environment for good work to happen. You shouldn't really sort of accidentally sort of grow as a design team. If there is, then you're probably not given enough thought to where you want to be. And it's even more so when you're growing really, really quickly. You need to invest a lot into how your sort of team works. And you really need to invest a lot into what you need to be and where you're going. So things that worked a lot when you're a smaller team. Design crits across the whole design org, pairing together on all problems, owning a full sort of product sort of surface by yourself. These things don't work anymore. And, but you need to find ways to make the good consequences and good effects that contributed to stay alive. Design systems are really on vogue right now. So a lot of people are talking about design systems, and that's a whole talk in itself, and talking about sort of design processes as well. The one thing I'll sort of highlight here is that tools, systems, processes, they have a purpose. And in the case of design systems, it's about helping you design better as a team. So, and that's the primary rule. It's not about being a gatekeeper, and it's not about just documenting. It's to help designers sort of design faster and help designers design better. It allows you to sort of build up an intuition across and philosophy across your whole design orgs, and allows designers to actually build on effectively the work of others. And this is great because it actually lets you work on like the bigger problems, because as people working in a fast-moving space, you kind of want to keep on working on the things that are interesting and matter and make a big impact. And you need to be a lot more conscious about building up your principles. So I won't go into these in too much detail, but I'll mention two aspects of it. We've got team principles and we've got design principles. Team principles are about who you want to be, what you care about. Design principles are informed by your users and what needs you're trying to solve. I was very deliberate in choosing the words we go out and empathize, because that's actually one of our team principles. We chose that specifically for many of the points that Dan sort of made, because we want to make sure that we want to understand, and we do have, we're not abdicating responsibility for that knowledge and understanding. We want to build up our intuition about things, and the only way to do so is to go out and understand, empathize, be the people on the ground, and be in the situations that they're doing. And it's not just about having a user research team that does that. We as an organization and we as a design team needs to do it as well. And growth and team and culture suddenly become a lot more consciously sort of defined. So we are very, very careful about what we were hiring for. And one example of that is that we it's actually embedded in our recruitment sort of values, which is we hire for intellectual humility. And these type of things become so important in deciding and shaping the future of your team. They're what you care about. And you also need to play, particularly as leaders of your organization, you need to play a big more sort of focus on creating space for the team to grow effectively and space for design to grow effectively as well. And this is a shot taken from one of the offsites that we did not too long ago, about 3 months ago. Our design team's grown a lot bigger than that since. But this is, on a quarterly basis, we do an offsite as a sort of design team. In this case, we rented an Airbnb. At this point, our design team was 17. Interesting quirk at Airbnb. The maximum number of people you can search for is 16. So that's a fun problem to solve with next time. But these are kind of really, really crucial to get the whole team together to design as a whole entity and have a cultural identity of itself and really look a little bit forward from some of the work that you're focusing on a day-to-day basis. My final point I'll sort of end with is that you need to be a lot more conscious of designing the future. So with a growing team, you have a lot more sort of responsibility, and you need to be a lot more explicit in shaping where you want to be. That includes the design vision, and that includes a responsibility to fully understand the systems and the world that you're really designing towards. You should really, if you're doing things right, be making a difference on your users, on the world that you're interacting with. And so there's more responsibility to really sort of make sure that that doesn't happen by accident. Which is why setting up a rhythm to make sure that that happens and setting up the right, I guess, conferences for that to sort of happen becomes kind of key. As a responsibility to work in a sort of design-led company, you need to lead through design, and that includes sort of shaping your team and shaping the business in where it needs to go. Design is about solving things that matter. And you want to do so to do more things, do it better, do it faster. You want to do things that you can't do before, and you want to be making a bigger impact on the world. Thank you.